Max drew in a lungful of the fetid air. Lieutenant Lehman, ja, gun crew stand by. Herr Caillou? Damn it, I said tell the gun crew to stand by. Jawohl, Herr Caillou. Damned insubordinate Nazi prick. Put him in the guardhouse if they ever got back to Lorient. The U-boat had a 105mm gun on her foredeck. Not a match for a destroyer, but it was something. Here, below, they had no hope at all. At least if they fought from the surface until the U-boat sank, the men might have a chance to abandon ship. Or some of them might. The engineers would never make it out, but they never did. Still, Max owed his men whatever chance he could give them, and you could usually count on the Tommies to rescue survivors after they sank a U-boat. So some of them might make it, but pray God the Brits would be so surprised when he surfaced that the U-boat would simply get away in the confusion. The gun crew assembled in the control room, their faces pinched and drawn, eyes bulging, sweat running down their cheeks. Max looked at them. Several trembled uncontrollably. All of them panted in the thin air, their lungs struggling against the rising CO2 levels. Battle surface. We practiced this in the Baltic. First man out, take up the deck boards and open the ammunition boxes. Second man, unscrew the plug in the barrel. Third man, aim at the nearest British ship. Fourth man, load the shell. Understand? They nodded. You trained for this, remember? None of them said anything. They had trained for this in a calm sea, with their wits about them, and their Royal Navy escorts dropping death charges. Chief, Herr Caillou, can you give me full power when we surface? Starboard engine, Herr Caillou, port engine is out. And give me whatever you can, but don't leave me lying dead in the water. Max looked again at his sailors, their eyes all seeming to ask the same question. What did they want from him? Was he supposed to reassure them that they weren't going to die? Good luck, men. Stand by. Activate all bilge pumps. Blow all tanks. A thin whine sounded as compressed air blew into the ballast tanks. Max pulled himself up, clinging once again to the shiny metal tube of the periscope. They weren't moving, still down at the stern. All ahead, full, he heard hysteria in his voice. Sluggishly, the boat began to rise, hesitating and moving faster as she shook off the terrible pressure of the depths and the weight of the water she'd taken on. 150 meters. Max closed his eyes. They weren't dead yet. 110 meters. Gun crew stand by. 70 meters. Max began to say the Hail Mary again. 30 meters. Stand by, Max yelled, his voice hoarse. He climbed into the conning tower. 10 meters. Tower clear. Hatch clear. Max opened the hatch, the unequal pressure tearing it from his hands. Air, humid and sweet, dense with oxygen, enveloped him. Overcome by the richness of it, he sagged on the ladder for a moment, seeing red. Then, eyes clearing, he hoisted himself onto the bridge. Behind him, the gun crew came up, jumping quickly to the foredeck, followed by the lookouts who assumed their post on the bridge. One diesel rumbled to ignition, and the boat began to move forward. A light drizzle, wet on Max's face, reduced their visibility. He took up his binoculars. To port, he saw the dim outline of a British corvette, perhaps half a kilometer distant. No sight of the destroyer. A bang and a flash from the corvette, then a geyser of white water 300 meters off the port beam. Even in the darkness and rain, they had been spotted right away. Fire! Max yelled at the gun crew. Fire! Destroyer bearing green 090, the starboard lookout screamed. Max turned and saw the ship coming right at them out of the night, her foaming bow wave stark against the dark water. Urine ran hot down his legs. Mother of God! The gun crew abandoned their weapons and jumped overboard. Alarm! Max screeched, his voice going thin and high. Two of the bridge lookouts dropped down the hatch with him. The other two leapt overboard. Get us down, Max yelled, voice cracking. Men sprinted for the bow as the boat began to dive. Radio to U-boat command, rammed, sinking, grid, AK-57, U-Max, collision alarm. He gripped the periscope, eyes clenched shut. The destroyer hit them forward of the bridge with a sound like a locomotive slamming on its brakes, rolling the boat 90 degrees. Metal shrieked against metal. The force slammed men to the deck. The impact on her bow forced the U-boat down at a sharp pitch, and she plunged out of control toward the bottom.